Hi, I'm Raul, and today we'll make a comparative test drive between Honda Civic and Mazda 3. It's obvious that Honda Civic looks restrained, conservative, but at the same time quite boring. What cannot be said about Mazda 3? It is emotional, sporty and aggressive. And also in our today's test, a real volunteer took part. Hello, my name is Alex Taranenko, AutoUAE.net. Today I work for food instead of Alexei Mochanov. Both cars are almost the same, but Honda offers optional leather seats and an automatic transmission with a sports mode. As for the cockpit, I like the dashboard because it's almost on the horizon and you don't need to digress. We concur that the cockpit in Mazda 3 is more pleasant. It hedges the driver and gives him a sense of sportiness, but on the first glance it seems cheaper. No leather, and the touch is not that topping. Compared with the Honda Civic, Mazda 3 is a real jet fighter. The cabin fits around you, but it's not narrow. Pay attention to this large color monitor. It has good graphics, while Honda still remains in the 80s of the 20th century. The interior is made of velour and plastics, but seats have a well-developed lateral support, and here is a dual-zone climate control. Also, do not forget about the start button. It's very modern. The main highlight is the projection of the speedometer on the windshield. This is really the 21st century device, which appeared in an inexpensive car at the first time. There is no navigation system in Honda. Mazda went on. Button is already there, but there is no navigation. The armrest in Mazda is not comfortable. My elbow slides down because of the shape of the armrest, but the arm standing here can reach the steering wheel. Mazda and Honda both have small pockets in the doors. You can't put there neither a bottle of water nor a bottle of vodka. Honda Civic is 4 centimeters wider than Mazda, but it doesn't save me from such roof. Here I have to sit either in the fetal position or almost lying on the seat pushing the knees forward. Of course, the tall man will feel extremely inconvenient, but if we talk about a man of medium height, everything would not look bad. It should be noticed that the presence of bright colors in the car, especially the sunroof, adds more living space inside the car. Size does matter. I'm only 3 centimeters below Raul, but I feel comfortable both in Honda and Mazda. But in Honda it's easier to get to the back row because the doorway is much wider. The cabin is more tight, and the front seat backs are soft, and it saves my knees. Here is my main conclusion about the rear seat row in Mazda 3. Both Mazda's and Honda's rear seat backs can be folded out of the trunk. Honda has hinges hidden in plastic housings. Both cars have noise insulation covers, but the culture at Mazda assembly is kicky. Both cars have a similar trunks, but the hatch in Honda is 1 centimeter wider. A big plus for Mazda, trunk can be opened from the outside and closed with such comfortable handle. You will not find that at Honda. The suspension at Mazda 3 is stout and rolls less than the Honda Civic, but at the same time, in some moments, the car loses steering, rear axle goes into a skid. This is not the most pleasant feeling. However, this does not mean that we lose Civic. If I was asked which of these cars is better managed on the Snake this morning, I'd opted Mazda. But in fact, it is not so smooth. The steering is not very clear in Mazda. The front axle is eely as far as back. Honda Civic zips as hard-drunk sailor. The suspension is soft, however, it keeps its traction very well, and the amount of work is not commensurate. Mazda needs to work on. It may affect our result. Despite the fact I thought that Civic is dedicated for old people, it surprised me. Yes, it rolls more than Mazda, but it's more predictable and rides easier. The rolls of Honda are seen well if we impose one video to another. Absolutely clear that it doesn't allow the suspension stroke to keep the desired path. At the same time, Mazda goes more accurate and comes first to the finish line. We have reached the next contest called the Moose Test. Honda Civic is first. Let's turn down the ESP in order to understand how to steer this car. I have reached the speed and entering the first gate now. The first turn, the second. Brilliant performance. Moose test is the main test for handling. With the traction control turned off, no problems. The driver is not supposed to be a Superman. Mazda 3 is my minion. I believe that it will pass this test reliably and flawlessly. Go! Now reaching 60 kilometers, airlining speed. And now we will pass the first gate. I must say all my hopes had just crushed. I'll try to make several attempts to understand why this is happening. Well, now it's time to consider that in order to pass this test in Mazda, we had to work seriously on our skills. It took a considerable amount of races and bold cones to understand how to overcome nervous and unpredictable car. As a result, we have passed a corridor at speed of 60 km per hour. But even Honda is just a job, in Mazda it's an act of bravery. We measured the driving dynamics of both competitors. The best result for Mazda 3 is 11.7 seconds. That only 1/10 of a second slower than indicated in the technical documentation. It's a rarity. Typically, this figure differs by 1 or 2 seconds. Well done! According to official data, Civic gathers 100 in 10.9 seconds. The paper says it is uniquely faster than Mazda, but in practice, the best result for Civic 12.5. Here's a story, gentlemen. The braking was carried out at speed of 60 km per hour. According to the results of several races, we have got interesting data. Honda Civic 9 meters 40 centimeters, Mazda 3 12 meters 10 centimeters. As the difference between these two cars is placed on behalf of the car called Smart. Both cars are equipped with automatic transmissions. Both gearboxes are adjusted for cost-effective and comfortable ride. Excellent to deal with it. But if you want to accelerate, then you need to push the pedal to the floor. Mazda has a better boost, although the engine capacity is 1.5. Honda is more sluggish. The powertrain seems to be balanced, but not to drive fast. The suspension in Mazda 3 is definitely tougher than the Civic. It is tight. There are some sounds of emptiness when contact with the porthole, but it's not critical. Here is what is critical at Civic, the rolling, but as you have noticed, the maneuverability of the car holds up well. I must admit that Sky Active technology, which is used by Mazda, really has the right to life. We're going with 1.5 engine, but the dispersal of the car is no worse than 2 liter. I have a strong sense that the noise insulation at Honda Civic is better due to the fact that transmission is less audible. Honda has certainly better noise insulation. Engine is almost inaudible. It shows itself at high speeds, and also you can hear an irritating aerodynamic noise at high speed. At Mazda seems that you go faster because of these noises. I think that Mazda 3 and Honda Civic are different from each other with their audiences. At Mazda is youth. These people love modern things, and the car certainly should look sporty. Honda Civic is for practical people, people who appreciate comfort and serenity. But at the same time, young people, especially women, will choose Civic with pleasure. If I had to choose between these two cars, my answer would be next. If I included the brain and would only be guided by issues of functionality, then of course I would choose Honda Civic. This is very balanced and comfortable car. But if I turned emotions, if I thought only with the heart, the choice would be obvious: Mazda 3.